What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, The Struggle. The struggle is real. He's here. And he is here to tell y'all a little story. But before we get into that, I really just want to say I am so grateful to all of y'all that are subscribed to the channel. It still blows me away. 3 weeks ago, I'm sitting at 250, 300 subscribers. 3 weeks later, I'm almost 3,000 now. So thank you so much. I do appreciate you guys.
Hey, sing something, douchebag!
I want to have earned your subscription, so I will absolutely be listening to any feedback in the comment section. Anything y'all want to hear, any advice, any tips y'all have.
You look good.
Any tips?
What?
Any tips you got?
I'm just starting out, so if you know stuff, please do not be afraid to reach out in the comments. I love feedback. I love hearing from you guys.
Get on with it, dumb shit.
I always want to get better and better and better. I want to find out what you guys are into.
Is this code for like gay stuff?
So with that being said, without further ado, I hope y'all enjoy this story.
He's had enough. Turn it off.
Once upon a time, there was a piece of shit. Let's just call him Scott. Scott was with a woman named Linda, and they had a daughter. Scott thought that it would be a fantastic idea to cheat on his wife Linda while she was in the military on an assignment in Hawaii. Granted, this is in the 80s, okay? No cell phones.
You're never gonna believe where I'm calling you from, man. I'm on a mountain on my phone. Yeah.
So, if you called, you had to use your landline, right? So, Linda calls Scott, and they talk on the phone. He seems like he's kind of trying to rush her off the phone, but ends up talking to her for a good while. Linda gets back from her assignment, and the other woman, let's call her Stacy. Stacy goes to Linda at work. They work together, you see, Stacy and Linda. And Stacy says, Linda, your husband Scott is cheating on you with me. Linda doesn't believe her. She had to believe Stacy because Stacy outlined the conversation that her and Scott were having on the phone while she was in Hawaii. The only way that Stacy could know what Linda and Scott talked about was if she was in bed with Scott while he was on the phone with Linda. Linda divorced Scott. Good for you, Linda. Good for you. But Scott did end up getting kicked out of the military. Scott had relations with his supervisor's wife. Scott was a dog. So Scott's no longer in the military. Begs for forgiveness. Begs Linda for forgiveness. Linda decides she really believes him. She believes Scott has changed. So Linda remarries Scott. Linda gets assigned Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Linda has 2 more children. We'll say a boy named William and a boy named Struggle. Struggle was the baby. William was a daddy's boy, and Struggle, total mama's boy. Yes, I was. About 4 years into her assignment in Germany, Scott had his parents come visit for a couple weeks, and then they went back to North Carolina, and Scott decided that he was going to extend his visit with his parents and go back with them to North Carolina. So they left together, they flew back together. Scott said, I'm going to be there for a couple of weeks, and I'll be back. Linda said, okay, honey, see you in a couple weeks. Well, a coworker of Linda came to her one day and asked if he could borrow a tool. Not sure which tool it was, but Linda knew that Scott had all kinds of tools.
Tools! Tools! Duct tape, zip ties, and gloves. I have to have my tools.
In the garage. In Germany, the garage was separate from the house where she was staying. So, she went out to the garage and looked inside, and everything of Scott's was gone. All of his
Tools!
every single thing that belonged to Scott was gone. Thinking she'd been robbed or something crazy had happened, she called Scott immediately. She said, "Scott, why are none of your things in the garage?" And Scott said, "Well, Linda, while my parents were there, they have helped me pack up all my things and mail them to North Carolina." And she said, "Scott, what are you talking about? When are you coming back?" "I'm not coming back." "What do you mean you're not coming back?" "What am I supposed to do? I have 4 kids." By the way, side note, Linda already had a son before she met Scott. Back to the story. "Scott, I am here in Germany by myself with 4 kids. 3 of them are yours. And you're telling me that you moved back to the States and you're going to be moving in with a woman. What am I supposed to do, Scott?" I said, "Well, I guess you'll figure that out, won't you, Linda?" Click.
What? You motherfucker!
32 years old. I'm 33 now. That's crazy to think about. She was younger than me when he did that to her. You remember I told you William was the daddy's boy. William would not leave the front door. He would sit and cry and cry and cry and cry and wait for Scott to come back. Scott never came back. Way to go, Scott. As far as struggle was concerned, he didn't even really remember Scott. He didn't care one way or the other. This is where the story gets interesting. Linda ends up getting in touch with another sergeant at Ramstein by the name of, let's call him Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Ron had recently gone through a bit of a breakup as well. So Ron was feeling kind of vulnerable, and Linda equally as vulnerable. They kind of hit it off and ended up getting together. And they ended up getting married. And they ended up getting assigned back to the States. And the interesting part is that Ron lost his wife to Scott. Scott left with Ron's wife, and Ron married Scott's wife. Not making that up. They wife swapped. A literal plot from a movie. Couldn't make it up. Anyway, been recording for a ridiculous amount of time. I'm gonna have to edit this down. But I just thought maybe y'all would like to hear a story. Maybe I'll put it up, maybe I won't.
Maybe I'll come down. Maybe I won't.
I guess you'll find out if you're watching it, eh? Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed it. Holler at your boy.